Hello guys, what's going on? This is Negacious and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. In the last episode we listened to Nomiya ramble on about or do an epic speech of proportions about what is art and like what defines an artist. We had a kinda boring lesson where we just talked and kinda discussed things. A discussion circle is the word I'm looking for. And after that, Nomiya grabbed Rin after the class and said that hey, maybe you should think about putting your works on display, since it was requested, and Rin was really disheartened by the idea. And she went to her worry tree inside the forest, behind the school, and we had a long talk there, just kinda wonder about things, really, like what should Rin do, and we kinda got to see kind of another side of Rin. Really, we had some tough choices, and we got back. And when we got back, we got this letter waiting for us. This also familiar letter waiting for us right here on our desk. So let's get going. So yes, this is literally like the next screen after we got home, or to our room. I can immediately tell from the envelope that it's not about official matters of any sort. Someone actually wrote me an old-fashioned, handwritten paper letter. Who bothers doing something like that in this day and age anyway? Yet, as unlikely as the prospect of receiving one sounds, there's definitely a letter lying on my desk. The classes for today are over. Still feeling pretty full from the big lunch I had unexpectedly eaten at the cafeteria, I returned to my dorm, planning on finishing my homework and probably skipping dinner, or at least just eating light. I feel like I need to eat much less than I used to. Maybe I don't use that much energy now that I don't do much beyond reading. However, the letter on my desk has naturally caught my interest. It's the first piece of mail I've received here at Yamaku, so it feels special even if it wasn't something as rare as a handwritten letter. What causes me even more trepidation is the name of the sender, written neatly on the back of the envelope. Iwanako. I have no idea why she would write to me. I haven't been in contact with anyone from my old school since I transferred, and Iwanako is the last person I'd expect to want to write me a letter. The last time I saw Iwanako was terribly awkward, embarrassingly so. She came to my hospital room, peeled me an apple out of courtesy, and then we practically sat in silence for half an hour. She said goodbye and didn't even look me in the eye when she closed the door. It might have been a natural end to the series of visits that were probably pretty painful for both of us. Every time she visited me in the hospital, I wanted to talk to her, but something stopped me every time. Every time that I didn't speak made the next time even harder. Iwanako always had this aura of fragility around her, as if she'd shatter into pieces at the slightest disturbance. Initially, I think it might have been that delicacy that attracted me to her, but after what happened back then, it felt as if she had really shattered. She looked so sad that I didn't want to say anything that might upset her, and I never could figure out the right words to say. I told her that it wasn't her fault. She nodded, and I think that she understood that if it hadn't been that, then sooner or later something else would have made my heart give out. Yet she looked so hopelessly sad every time she opened that door and entered my room. So I never managed to say the things I wanted to say. In the end, that might have hurt her even more. Carefully, I opened the envelope and drew out the folded letter from within. Dear Hisao, how are you? I hope you are well and happy at your new school. Everyone here misses you. Almost all of our second year class got put together in class 3-1 for the final year, so we are pretty comfortable right from the beginning of the year. I'm sure you would have been assigned to this class as well. The mood among the third year seems to be very anxious about the final exams, even though they are so far away. The teachers are badgering us about it all the time. Even old Mr. Tachibana, who is, by the way, our homeroom teacher this year. Would you believe it? I was sure that he'd retire after our second year, but here he is, nagging everyone about studying for finals, for exams. I think things like that are the main reason why the mood among us third years is so nervous. I must admit I'm somehow losing confidence in myself as well, even though I've always fared reasonably well in exams. It's so weird to think that we are already seniors, isn't it? Time has really flown past. I wonder where it went. The new first years seem so young and somehow really innocent. I keep wondering if I was like them in my first year. I've been feeling nostalgic like this for the whole first trimester. There are other things I want to say. I'm writing to you because I felt that there are things that I should have said after the incident back in winter. I really regret that I wasn't able to say them in person, and I have no excuse for it. The truth is, the times when I visited you at the hospital made me worry about you. I'm not talking about your health. You seem to become more distant and disheartened. It was natural after something like that happened, I'm sure. But somehow I got the feeling that you'd given up on something back then. Happiness, maybe. Oh. Okay, I see how this links to Rin's route now, because this is very similar to the like other letter. I can't remember which route it was, but like it talked about Hisao losing happiness as well. But the Rin's route that links really well, because Rin said that. And also Hisao, that Hisao doesn't smile anymore, like, as much, and the smile that he manages to, like, do is very, very, very fake. I wanted to somehow express my feelings, but the right words didn't come to me. I couldn't say anything to comfort you. I'm really sorry for not being able to support you when it mattered the most, even though I like you so much. At least now? Finally, I can be more honest. If I could go back to those quiet days in February and March, I'd tell you not to give up on yourself. That's what I would say. Maybe you wouldn't have drifted so far away if I had just said something. I hope you've managed to get back on your own feet on your own. Now that the distance between us is also physical, it also feels more final, somehow. I wonder if we will meet again. Perhaps it's for the best if we don't. Still, if you would like to correspond with me, by all means write me back. I'd very much like to hear about your new school and how you are doing. I wish you all the best. Sincerely, Iwanako. After finishing reading the letter, I fold it like it was and place it on my desk. I don't know what to think of this. I feel empty and confused. Why now, after all this time? Just yesterday I decided that I can't let myself stay like this, that I'd try to get on top of my own life. Reading this letter just reminds me of what could have been. Of course, I wish I didn't have to be here. I'd want to be in the same class with Iwanako again. Maybe we would talk every day now and go on dates. My life didn't go like that. I didn't really need to be reminded of this. Iwanako needed to write this letter for her own sake, and I'm glad for her that she could, but it would have been better if I hadn't read it. Of course, she is right. I thought of the same thing yesterday. I had fallen into a pit of depression, now I have to try and climb out. I rip out a page from my notebook, but after a moment of thinking how to frame my words, I write a short reply to Iwanako. I find it difficult to be really honest to her, but at least I try to appear somewhat convincing. I don't write her about Yamaku at all. I doubt she'll write me again, but I don't feel at all sad about it. I fold my own letter to her, and as I have no envelope, set it next to Iwanako's. I'll mail it to her later. Then I lie back on my bed, looking at the monotone grey ceiling. A bird sings outside of my window, and a sudden gust of wind flutters my curtains. The summer afternoon feels still, as if time had stopped for a brief moment. I think about all the things I've lost and will never regain. Thus, the languid days of mid-June pass by. I mail my letter to Iwanako and receive no reply. Having decided to ditch the old me, I start observing my fellow students even closer than I did before, hoping to understand how other people cope with their own issues. I start seeing things I didn't before, and it makes me wonder if I've been wrong twice. Superficially, everyone is abnormal, yet so strikingly normal that it shocked me at first. I admired the way my new schoolmates turned my prejudices around just like that, simply by being themselves. Now that I've gotten used to it, I begin noticing other kinds of tones in the people surrounding me every day. There is this soft, numb sadness all around me. I can see the effort everyone has to make just to get through the day, and how it weighs on their shoulders, like it weighs on mine. Even the brightest smile is just slightly subdued, every outburst of annoyance just slightly dampened. It's subtle, but it's definitely there. I try to think of what it means, what I can learn from others. I wonder if deep down everyone is as lost as I am. Is there even one person in here who has truly found peace? I start to feel doubtful about myself once again. I can't decide whether those people are happy, unhappy, or if they've just learned to cope and now live in an unfeeling limbo like I did all spring. I escape from these feelings into the towering piles of books I carry to my room from Yuko's sanctuary. Sanctuary? After realizing that this will shut me down even more, I start going to the art club's room more often, usually whenever I can. Rin, too, seems to spend more time in there than in her own classroom. I've often seen her totter towards the door at the very end of our corridor. That wooden door and the room behind it, smelling of paint and paper, seem to mean more to her than the rest of the world combined. She says she has special permission to use the room, which I don't doubt at all. I don't think Nomiya would deny Rin anything. He seems to dote on her like an uncle upon a favorite niece. The object of his affection, however, has no favorites. She says she appreciates the teacher a lot for going the extra mile for her sake, but even when she says that, her expression is the same as always. It's as if she was talking about a particularly unremarkable rock that she saw the other day. I can't really figure out their relationship. Rin doesn't seem to let anyone close. I don't think even Emi could say she's crossed a gap that seems to separate Rin from the rest of the world. Well, where have we heard that story before? Freaking Emi's road, dude. I don't understand it. She seems so indifferent yet so passionate at the same time. Somewhere the school bells ring, the last call of the day. I realize I've been zoning out for who knows how long. Dazed, I sit up straighter, trying to look as inconspicuous as possible. The pungent smells of linseed oil and turpentine mix in my nostrils as I draw a deep breath. I feel drowsy and lightheaded. It's already this late, and a few club members left early, so it's just me, Rin, the teacher, and 2 other girls who are also about to leave. Ooh! Maestro at work. Rin is sitting to my right, slowly working on a painting while I'm idling the time away. I don't think she realizes I've been watching her this whole time. With a nimble move of her delicate ankle, she dips the brush into crimson paint and presses it lightly onto the canvas. A stain spreads around, as if the brush was bleeding. Her progress has slowed down to a crawl. By now I've learned that this is dangerous for her technique, as the paint must not be allowed to dry before she's finished. It occurs to me that I'm literally watching the paint dry, and yet somehow I'm not feeling bored, despite spacing out just now. Most of the time, the art club is very relaxed and free form, apart from times when Nomiya gets really excited about some technique or style he wants to teach us about. Everyone is free to pursue their own interests. Lacking one, I keep floating around without a direction. I try this and that, but nothing really leaves me with a deeper impression, not to mention that I don't seem to have a special knack for anything. Well, I did get praise for my attempt at watercolors, and I felt pretty good about that myself, but that's it. I suppose it's to be expected. I joined the art club mostly on a whim, after all. I'm thinking that maybe I should quit the club, if it's going to be this pointless. But there's really nothing wrong with pointlessness, and I can't exactly say I'm unhappy. Unsatisfied maybe, but I've only got myself to blame for that. As the pair of girls exit the club's room with a cheerful bye-bye, Nomiya stands up from his desk. His chair scoots back with a loud screech that breaks the harmony of this quiet afternoon. He taps a pile of papers in his hands twice against the tabletop in order to straighten them, then stretches his back.
I have a faculty meeting to attend, so I can't stay. I'll have to do some paperwork later, so if you want to stay, we can talk then. Sorry about this.
There are 2 people here, but he's really talking to one of us. Nomiya spends extra hours of his time mentoring Rin after official club hours are over, and I'll bet he'd like to discuss his plan of getting Rin's art into a gallery a little more.
It's alright. I think I'll probably be here, but it's not a big deal if I'm not. I don't really have much going now.
Rin answers without moving her eyes from her work in progress. The tone of her voice is neither the polite kind expected when talking to a teacher, nor her usual monotone.
So, I won't need to send a search party if you aren't here?
Yes, no thanks. I don't like the party. We can talk later.
Good girl.
Smiling, the teacher picks up the rest of his papers and makes his way to the door. I glance at the clock above it and then at my watch to double check. They're 3 minutes apart, but nevertheless the club's meeting time is over now. Rin seems intent on staying here to work on her piece while waiting for the teacher. I can't quite imagine what their one-on-one time would be like. Would they actually discuss anything? Rin is always so subdued in what she says, but when she does say something, it's difficult to understand what she's talking about. Maybe Nomiya just talks endlessly like he does at club meetings, letting Rin absorb what she will from his infinite well of art knowledge, like a sunflower turning to face the glowing sun. Do you mind if I stay? I thought maybe I'd give watercolors another try. I blurt out that excuse sort of accidentally, embarrassing myself. Rin doesn't take her eyes off the painting.
Okay.
I shift around in my chair, then get to fetching a cup of water, brushes, colors, and some paper. The sound of my footsteps invades the still afternoon air. Before starting, I try to recall what the teacher told us, an important philosophy of the medium. Working with watercolors means more working with water than working with color. I try to keep that in mind and dip my tiny sable brush into the water cup. I'm mixing yellow and blue, trying to capture the sunlit treetops outside the window. The sun is low, and so the yellows are more pronounced, and everything looks darker. Still, I can't quite connect what I see with what my hand does with the paints, but it's a passable attempt for my level. After a while, I start losing my focus and move the paper aside, deciding to watch Rin work for a while instead. That little while stretches first into a long while, then into a really long while. Rin paints, her entire being fully concentrated on the brush between her slender toes and the painting coming to life, one stroke at a time. She seems determined and yet at the same time relaxed, effortlessly moving the brush around, never hesitating. Colors meet and part, mix and cover on each other on the canvas, bending to her quiet will. I don't know anything about composition, structure, or any of that stuff, but I really like Rin's paintings. I like how she looks when she paints. As usual, the silence between us compels me to speak rather than merely wait for her to open up. She might end up saying nothing at all. Do you mind if we talk?
I don't mind.
I kind of wanted to ask you more about why you get so weird about this being the thing the teacher wants to arrange for you. Rin picks up a tube of paint and squeezes it between her toes on the palette almost as easily as someone with opposable thumbs would. Taking up a brush again, she replies,
A lot of things, and some not things, unthings. I don't think that's a word.
Do you want to talk about it? I try to reach out to her clumsily, ignoring the embarrassing feeling of awkwardness. Rin keeps her focus on the painting, spreading more and more paint on the canvas, her lips forming a perfectly straight line as she concentrates on the job.
Not really. Talking is hard. I mean, it's not hard. I'm talking even now, but saying the right things is really hard for me. No matter what, I just can't say the things I want.
Oh. So... I don't know, actually. That sounds weird. I mean, is she just bad at articulation, or...?
It's true. I say all kinds of things that I don't really mean all the time. And sometimes I forget words and then I use the wrong words. I even come up with new words for things I've already have some. That's the worst thing. I get really nervous and something comes out a mess and I don't really understand what I want to say. I think there's something wrong with me that makes it like this. Remember when I said I can only think of 4 things at the same time?
So, does she have like something relating to... I don't think it's ADHD, but something like regarding her capability to focus? I know the word in my language, but I don't remember what's it in English. Anyway, it's like a disease which basically disrupts your capability to focus. I don't remember what it is. It's not ADHD or like Tourette's or anything like that, though. I nod wordlessly.
It's not really 4. I mean, it is 4, but everything else is also everything else is also there, kind of in the background. Like being at an amusement park and a beehive at the same time. But that's not the point. I used to be better. Like 6 or 7 things. I think so, at least. I feel like I'm becoming dumber.
I think everyone has times when they feel like they can't say the right things.
but it's there all the time, stronger and deeper. Yeah, deeper is a good word. I like that word, deeper. It's that feeling of being underwater. Maybe it's just art. The more I paint, the more words I forget. Maybe at some point I'll forget how to speak completely. It feels like I'm slowly forgetting everything. Do you remember what you thought about things 3 or 4 years ago? I don't.
A long pause ensues, during which time seems to bend around itself, almost tying itself to a knot. I don't think I've ever heard Rin talk this earnestly and for so long about anything before.
It's like I'm fading away from the world.
Rin's foot has stopped its work on the canvas, and she's staring at her painting, unmoving, as if gazing at some faraway horizon. Sunlight briefly glints in the corner of her onyx eyes. Something floats up into the top layer of Rin's being, and she lets out a long breath. Then she blinks and it's gone. Just instantly.
Paintings stay behind. When I look at my old things, I remember what I was thinking back when I made them. They make me feel like I can be with all the past me's when I was a different me. I guess they are the proof of my existence.
She uses the exact same words Nomiya used when he spoke to us about the nature of art. I didn't think Rin was paying any attention back then. I wonder if she was listening, or whether she had heard the same passionate speech from Nomiya before. Either way, I feel overwhelmed. Boy, are you complicated. I would have taken up writing a diary. Her eyes quickly flicker into my direction, then back to the painting. But she doesn't pick up the brush anymore.
That's a great idea. Why didn't I ever think of that?
Are you being sarcastic? Damn.
What's sarcasm?
I was hoping that there'd be like a what is a sarcasm, then it would have been even better. Like it would be a thing. Like a material thing. I don't call her on the joke, if it is one. Right at that moment, Nomiya returns from his meeting. He waves to us at a very melodramatic hello, mildly surprised to see me here along with his pet student. Walking with a boisterous gait to his desk, he drops his paper upon it. He picks up a handkerchief and cleans his glasses with incredibly meticulous care before walking over to us. Before he is within earshot of us, Rin says something to me in a quick, quiet voice.
Change is the scariest thing in the world to me.
Change is the scariest thing in the world to me, huh?
And I seriously don't know if I want to change into a person who could do the thing that the teacher wants me to do. I don't know if I could, even if I wanted to.
Change. That's... I need to keep that in mind, because I feel like that this route is gonna get complicated with the choices later on. I need to remember every single last detail on what I've talked about with Rin. Hello again!
Hello?
Hello?
What's going on?
He smiles a bit sheepishly, looking at both of us with uninhibited interest. Also, Rin is still looking sad. That's such a fucking... Oh. I mean, now that I've gotten into Rin's character more, it's so fucking like... I'm liking this route a lot. Because Rin... I mean, Hanako was a puzzle, but Rin is a friggin' shogi match. To figure out. Nothing. We were just talking about that thing with your acquaintance and the gallery. or Rin's works, sort of.
Oh, any decisions?
I look at Rin, who's trying to arrange a bothered expression on her face into something else. Anyway, I don't think I have much else to say, other than you should go for it. Fuck. Also, there's 3 choices here. So... Because it would be exciting? No, because I don't think that Rin cares about such a such a basic thing as excitement, because like I just don't see Rin as that kind of person. Also, you'd be wasting your talents otherwise. That's definitely a no, because Rin said that she only paints for herself, or she has so far only painted for herself, so I don't think that she'd care about her talents being recognized, like out in the public. But it isn't like you at all to hesitate like this. I think that makes the most sense, because usually Rin is very like straightforward in everything she does, like says and does. But I feel like that's just a shell too, like now that we had that little talk with Rin. I think we are going to go with the middle one. It isn't like you at all to hesitate like this. Let's see where it takes. This isn't like you. You told me that people should go do things they can't just because they can. Oh, and that too, yeah. And now you're being all wishy-washy yourself about something that's this. And now you're being all wishy-washy yourself about something this important.
I don't think I want to talk about this. I'm going.
Rin stands up and trots out of the room without anyone saying anything more. I'm sorry, I think I made her upset.
Don't worry about it. She'll be fine, I'm sure. I'll talk to her later.
Nomiya looks at me over his circular pink glasses, smiling sympathetically. Also, was that the wrong choice? Fuck.
You've made friends with her then, Nakai?
Well, something like that, I guess. Depends on how you look at it. To be honest, I'm not really sure. It's more like me and Rin tend to just hang around each other irregularly, talking or not about something that... What? Talking or not about something that more often resembles some twisted mockery of philosophy rather than normal everyday things that friends chat about.
Well, that's all good, isn't it? You're a new student and we should be promoting integration into the student body and such. I can't remember all the buzzwords they spew at faculty and Yamaku Foundation meetings, but that's how it is. Tezuka isn't the most social person around T-Spots either.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
So, she's talked about my suggestion to you?
No, not really. I think it's been more me pressing her to decide something. Maybe I shouldn't have.
No, I'm sure it's fine. I'm too soft with her, even when I shouldn't. I don't really know how to handle Tezuka. She's so independent and willful. I wonder if this is what every old geezer of an art teacher who got his hands on a young and fiery prodigy felt like.
I don't really like that sprite where he sticks his tongue out. He chuckles ironically to himself a little bit, turning to face Rin's latest work, which she left drying on the easel. She departed so abruptly that I wonder if she considers it really finished.
So, let's see the painting then.
He leans in closer, peering at the canvas.
It draws you in, doesn't it?
Nomiya stands back straight, his face a dreamy, nostalgic visage. I don't answer him, as he seems to be taking my agreement as a given.
I sometimes stay here after hours just to look at Tezuka's paintings. She's really just prodigious, and at such a young age I get shivers just thinking what she could become within a few more years of refinement. You asked what makes an artist, remember? This is it. They take a piece of the world and reshape it in their own image. Metaphorically, of course. Looking at her makes you wonder what the world looks like through her eyes. It's a wonderful thing to be young and full of passion. The most extraordinary time of your life. You would do well to remember that, Nakai.
Yes, sir.
It's so silly. People always ask artists, where do you get your ideas? As if ideas were something sold at the market for pocket change. You can't explain inspiration. For people like Tezuka, it's like breathing, it's an instinct. I've met maybe one or two with the same kind of raw potential, but no amount of potential will amount to anything if one doesn't work to realize it. It's practice, technique, skill, draw for an hour every day for a few years, and even the most hopeless case can become a passable artist. Tezuka is not brilliant because she was born with a natural talent for this kind of thing. She is brilliant because she works harder than anyone, ever since she learned to hold a pen, most likely. And all of it with her feet, no less. Absolutely phenomenal.
Silence finally lands in the club room as Nomiya lets himself get drawn back into Rin's painting, gently murmuring acceptance towards the still wet canvas. What kind of things do you paint yourself? As if waking from a reverie, he looks at me, surprised at my talking to him.
Oh, I don't. Not anymore. I became an art teacher only after my career in that field came to an end. Now I just pass on knowledge to the next generation.
The way Nomiya answers is curious, both giving and withholding information. I feel like asking more but he cuts in before I get the chance.
Now you should run along, my boy. It's almost dinner time, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Have a good evening.
You too.
I quickly collect my stuff and step out into the deserted hallway, leaving the teacher alone with his musings. The weekend will be here soon. It's amazing how fast time flies here. I promised Emmy I'd join her for the celebration of her triumph at the track meet last week. That should be plenty of fun. This route is confusing, but so good. Okay. This is the picnic part, I'm guessing. Okay, this is where we are going to drop off this episode of Katawa Shoujo, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, you can drop a comment down below, whether it was general banter or constructive criticism, or if you just want to say hi, anything's welcome. If you want to show your appreciation towards the video, you can like or dislike with the like or dislike buttons. Oh god, I hate recording on the evening because I get like all drowsy and then I mess up my outro. Anyways, you can click the like or dislike button. I appreciate your honesty and appreciation. Or you can even subscribe and click the bell button next to the subscribe button just below the video to make doubly sure that you get my videos into your sub box the moment they come online. Thank you, my name is Negacious, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.